This episode is brought to you by Muntins Malts, a company that is passionate about providing premium malts to brewers worldwide. For over a century, Muntins has been a leading supplier of brewing and distilling malts, offering the finest British malted barley on the market. You can experience the difference Muntins offers by joining a recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club, because every kit that ships out now includes premium Muntins malt. You know, we've known the Muntins crew for a long time, and I can tell you, friend, you're going to love brewing with their grains. Ask your local supply shop to carry Muntins malts, or homebrewers can pick up some right now online at txbrewing.com. Join our Trub Club at homebrewhappyhour.com/club. Be a part of the community and come brew with us. Thank you, Muntins, for supporting our efforts and homebrewers worldwide. Today's show is brought to you by Hopsterette.com. Grown in the esteemed Yakima Valley on the Pewterball family farm, Hopsterette.com offers the widest variety of hops available online at incredibly competitive pricing. It's simple. They grow hops, they sell hops, and they ship hops straight from their family-owned farm to your doorstep. Producing the highest quality hops is Hopsterette.com's passion, and they're proud to be an independent grower in the craft beer industry. Go to Hopsterette.com right now and get what you need to make your brew day better. That's Hopsterette.com. Today's show is brought to you by Imperial Yeast. You hear us gushing over Imperial Yeast all the time, and that's because their yeast performs for us in every batch that we brew. Imperial Yeast is adored by commercial breweries and home brewers alike. Their pitch-right pouches are jam-packed with over 200 billion fresh yeast cells, guaranteed to deliver flawless, fast fermentations every time. Imperial Yeast strains are grown by a team of pro brewers and home brewers who live to help other brewers learn more and ferment better. Join any recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club and get a free upgrade to premium Imperial Yeast with every recipe kit that ships out to you. Learn more at homebrewhappyhour.com/club and come brew with us.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Using a flow control event faucet, does yeast strain selection actually matter? An ideal ambient temperature for a CO2 cylinder. This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 329. Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. If you do have a question that you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you can go online, www.homebrewhappyhour.com. Use the submit a question link at the top of that page, or get in the 21st century. Call us at 325-305-6107. Leave us a voicemail and get yourself a $25 gift card to KegConnection.com. Joining me, as always, are my co-hosts. Well, first off, my name's Joshua Stephen, and joining me, as always, are my co-hosts. First, right there down beneath me, I'm using my word choices better. He is the Director of Operations at cmbecker.com, Mr. James Carlson, as well as the President and Chief Keg Washer, about to be airplane bound for Craft Brewers Conference 2023 in Nashville, Tennessee, Mr. Todd Burns. Gentlemen, welcome back.
How you doing? Thank you.
Yeah, you are about to leave for CBC.
I am. Yep.
In a
just about to leave.
I just realized. Look, I'm wearing you're going to be at the Faucet booth. I'm wearing the Faucet shirt. If I could figure out how cameras work, there we go. I got there. Rob sent you home with some shirts last time, or maybe he shipped them to us. Or it's really comfy. It's the kind of shirts. It's like a blend between the boring only cotton you like and those next level shirts that I love that you hate. It's a good blend between those two. In fact, this is the type of shirt that I had our Kolsch Cup 2023 printed on as well. So they're going to be very...
Really?
Yeah. And you know...
Was it 100% cotton?
Yes, it's 100% cotton.
You're lying.
I don't... Yes, it is. No, for sure. It's like Gildan... Hold on. I taped my shirt
Oh
off.
no, I mean
dude,
that's the kind of shirts I like. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh no, I know,
Yeah.
but I'm saying I wanted to get those next level shirts like we'd done before because they make your muscles look good. They like
those really, really crappy shirts. Yeah, I don't want those.
Man, I'm trying to work on a next level sponsorship. Don't ruin that. No, you that would be hilarious if I could get them to sponsor the show and you had to wear their shirts. The only thing Todd Burns hates worse than shirts that stick to you are huge vinyl decals that take up 4/5 of the shirt front. And what
Makes you
else?
sweat.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It makes my breath sweat too much.
Yeah, it did.
Nobody wants that, Josh. Nobody
wants. I promise you, that has never been in anyone's search history. Fat man's breast sweat. I'm going to cut that out. That's going to be another 1-star review. Anyway, I know
You're
I won't. I'm lazy. Anyway, let's actually start with Small Talk with Craft Brewers Conference. Obviously, Faucet Equipment is one of the nation's largest suppliers of brewing and home brewing equipment to supply stores. And so you're going as CM Becker, you're showing off. You actually built a really cool display. I need that photo you took. That way I can embed it.
James sent it to Oh, no, you're not
to the
on that.
WhatsApp. Yeah, James, would you text me that photo so I could put it in the show notes? Because I actually... Most of the time, people accuse me of sucking up to you. I mean, it's been in feedback and reviews of the show, like, oh, he's just sucking up to his boss.
I never feel that way.
Yeah, I know because you know me, because I'm not. But I have to give.
You're not.
I have to.
I sent you one of the versions of it there.
Oh, I got James.
I just sent it too.
I got it, James. Yeah. But
I don't like the one with the fat guy on the left though. I
didn't send him that one. I sent him the other one.
James sent the one he knew you'd approve, which doesn't have you in it. But I have to give credit where credit's due. This display that you built with all the various CM Becker faucets, the placards look especially nice. But the display, is that oak? What kind of wood is that? You hand built it in your shop over like a weekend, I think.
Yeah, it took longer than I'd like to admit. I built 2 of them. It's red oak plywood and then actual red oak trim for the trim.
Yeah, it came out fantastic.
Pieces of solid red oak for the trim.
Yeah, you built 2 because one is at I can talk about Hart and Price, right? You don't mind me talking about it? Vendors.
No. Well, the other thing I have to mention though is that my dad, when he saw them, he goes, "Oh my gosh, you could be a cabinet maker," and I was like, "I could be." And I would build beautiful cabinets, but I would make $2.50 an hour.
No kidding, right? With how long it takes. Yeah. I've done the math too. Sometimes when I'm doing yard work, I'm like, wait, if I can just get a neighborhood kid to do this for like $20, because I'm right now, if I'm
$20, those days are gone, my friend.
That's true. I remember raking my dad's neighbor, where I grew up, the home. We called him Uncle Joe, the neighbor. When his wife was still alive, she paid me and a couple buddies to rake all their leaves on an acre lot, or maybe it's a half-acre lot, and I got paid $5. It took us all day, $5, and I was happy. I was like maybe 11 or 12. I was ecstatic. Anyway, so yeah, Craft Brewers Conference. Do you know the booth number, Todd, or do you not have that info off the top of your head? I can always put it in show notes. Just because we do have listeners who are attending for sure. I want to give them the chance to meet Todd
I don't
Burns
know,
in person.
but I can. We can Google it. You're not at the Craft Brewers.
Yeah. While he's doing that, I will say, and I'm not even joking. I'm not throwing him under the bus. Todd loves it when people identify him in public. He lives for it. It's annoying. People,
what do you mean? What are you talking about?
Shut up.
That is not. So let's talk about the truth here. It's not that I love it. It's that you hate it.
Yes, absolutely, I do. Oh, everybody, Todd Burns, how are you? I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, oh, hi, I'm John. Nice to meet you. I'm like, what? We've met 1,000 times. But Craft Brewers Conference, as I know it, officially starts Monday of this coming Monday through Thursday, I believe. It's like a 3 or 4 day show. If it goes through Thursday, it's a 4-day show. But you're getting there to start helping Fox set up the booth Saturday evening or Sunday.
Yes, I'm getting there to set up booth 3125, Fox's booth. 3125.
3125 in Nashville,
Yes.
Tennessee. If you're in Nashville, go there, buy Todd a beer. Or Todd, you buy them a beer. And you've been to Nashville for shows a lot. What are your feelings on the Nashville beer scene? Is it enjoyable?
1 or 2 times I've been in Nashville once for a show and once for other business. So I've only been twice. But yeah, they have a great beer scene. They have a really good music scene too. I don't know if you've heard, but they're almost as good as Austin.
It's funny. A friend of mine who's a drummer moved to Nashville for the music scene, and he's born and raised from Austin. He's like, yeah, man, gotta go to Nashville. It's where it's at. I was like, that's like the most Austinite thing ever. like the Californians have invaded our town. I've got to move to Nashville now for music because that scene's not present in Austin. Anyway, also a reminder. So I did send out emails to everyone who's already entered into the Kolsch Cup. Updated info is available at kolschcup.com because some of them are saying, oh, I didn't get it. Or some of them are saying, oh, crap, it was in my spam. Yeah, Homebrew Happy Hour's inbox sometimes does that. Gmail, I've found, especially, will kick some of my emails into spam. But the whole gist of it is that we pushed it back by a week. So now your beer for the competition is due Friday, May 26th. So get it mailed out to us by then. And we will begin the judging on Friday, June the 2nd. Myself, James, Todd, and unfortunately my pop had to drop out because a week later from the initial date, he's going to be in Vegas, enabling his severe gambling addiction. We're really pulling for the guy. But
That's funny. Wrong. He listens to the show.
That's the only reason I said that. Yeah. Degenerate gambler. Actually,
I sent him a text saying the same thing earlier. I like this.
This whole episode, Dad's actually an intervention. I don't expect an inheritance, Pop, but stop spending it, please. Stop spending it. I don't even know if he's good at poker. I stopped playing card games for money a long time ago because I'm even worse at poker than I am at $5 bets. So if you can imagine how easy it is for money to go away when you're not good at bluffing or when to call, or it's a lot of it's just math and statistics, and I failed those in college before dropping out. So anyways, but Wes, for our buddy from Teddy's Brew House, Wes, the brewmaster that was there, he is going to be judging that with us starting again on Friday, June the 2nd. And the plan is to wrap it up that Saturday because we limited it to 40 entries. So we should be able to get between two groups judging 20 beers each in a couple ounce increments. We'll get through Friday. We'll do the top 10 like we did last Kolsch Cup, and then Saturday all 4 of us together will judge it, and the top scorers will then get the grand. Whoever wins will get the grand prize trophy that we got. And then there's a runner-up, a second place medal, and a third place medal. And you can go to Instagram.com/Homebrew Happy Hour if you want to see pictures of all that, or I'll just put in the show notes too. By show notes, I mean you have to go to homebrewhappyhour.com to see it. YouTube doesn't let you embed images in the descriptions yet, but you can find, like I said, all the information is available at kolschcup.com. I wanted to say that because 100% of people who entered do listen to the show, but not 100% of them got the email. So I want everyone to make sure they're not stressing about, oh, when do I need to get it to you and whatnot. And I guess for brewers, it worked out for us because nobody's complained about the delay. They're like, an extra week for my beer to condition? Thank you. That's perfect. So thank God that worked out for us. So yeah, Kolsch Cup coming up. It is also a new month, and that means Trub Club is brewing a new recipe. I'm excited to announce. Let me see if this is the right screen. It is up there. Boom! A delicious English mild. This is actually Todd's English mild. Todd, talk about, you actually brewed. So I have a keg of it. You went through your first batch of it already, and you just brewed it last weekend, or when did you just brew it?
Yeah, I brewed it last weekend. I put it in the fermenter about 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, and I think it wasn't done. I sent y'all a text. I think it was done Monday. I couldn't believe how fast I got down to 1.009, and I was like, oh crap, I got to take, or maybe it was 10. And I was like, I got to take this off right now or it's going to get too much. But the great thing about it is I actually hit the alcohol level I was shooting for, which is right at 4%.
Yeah, and the recipe itself, the style can be as low as 3.5 or 3.3 even. I think.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm not doing it. I won't do that. And so you didn't bump it up to. We were on a call with Muntins, and you kind of joked about wanting it to be 5. You didn't do that. You didn't. I mean, the style doesn't call for it that much. Although James and I kind of call 5% session beers too sometimes. But crushable. It's crushable, I think, is what the kids call it. But your English mild, I hope this current batch is as good as your last batch, because that you still have it on tap, I'm assuming, or did I drink it all?
No, remember I got a beer and then didn't tell you, and you went to get one. It was so much fun.
It did, James. That is true. I inadvertently am bringing up a story that embarrassed me. Yeah, Todd, I was drinking the Irish Red, and then Todd goes, "Dude, you haven't even tried my mild in a while. Why don't you get one?" I was like, "I will. Net's beer. Leave me alone. I will." And then he sees me outside finishing my Irish Red. He goes, "You better go inside and get a beer. It's time to walk over for dinner." I was like, "Yeah, you know what? I'm going to get an English mild." He goes, "That's a great idea." And he's watching me the whole time. I'm thinking, why is Todd watching me the whole time? And I start pouring, and immediately, just air and foam. And he's dying laughing behind me.
It was so funny, wasn't it?
You were dying laughing. It was so, seriously, if I was, I had a good time. It didn't bother me at all. But, so the English mild,
I got my all beer brewed.
Oh, damn, that's right. Thank you. So let me say, so the English mild is coming with us to Homebrew Con. The alt beer is coming with us to Homebrew Con, and I'm brewing a coal. Show it again. You're drawing off the fermenter right now.
This is 1 week. It's done.
Yeah.
It just needs to condition. I also have a pills that I'm bringing too. I brewed.
Yeah,
I didn't get a beer for the podcast.
I didn't get one.
Well, people are special. People are not.
And some people are not. How does it taste? Because Todd was telling me at first you were kind of weary, but to be fair,
yeah, I kind of thought I overhopped the bitterness, but it's calming down. I think it'll be fine by the time it conditions out.
I was gonna say, to be fair, it wouldn't be a James Carlson beer if you weren't your worst critic. Like every brew, you're like, I think this, and then I'll try it, and I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? That was fantastic. You're like,
did you like my text the other day to him?
I don't know if I saw it, or I don't know if I remember it.
When I was drinking this brown ale, it was funny. I was just giving him a hard time because
I like that you have
for that very reason again.
Audio only listeners, Todd has put on his readers because he has to find the specific text that he sent us in the group chat. I will say I'm looking forward to your alt. It's been a while since you brewed an alt. The last one you brewed was the not alt, which I loved, but it was kind of in the weird category of its own in regards to.
Yeah, it was definitely too bitter.
Right. But I'm looking forward to that. And then we're going to have a Kolsch. We're going to be serving at Homebrew Con on that last day of the show at the Muntins booth. I don't have a number for that, but that show, Homebrew Con trade show floor is so small, you will absolutely not miss us. And I know we're going to spend some time in the Imperial booth as well, our friends there. Hopstret isn't showing this year, but if they were, I'd also weasel my way into their booth as well. But we're very excited about HomebrewCon. I think I actually have a slide for it. I do. We are presenting at 1:30 p.m. on June the 23rd, serving your homebrew, all about draft beer systems. You can learn more at homebrewcon.com. Come hang out with us in San Diego from June 22nd through the 24th.
Excited.
If you're in the area, I'm so excited. And we're driving. I still have an irrational fear of flying. So when Todd recommended we fly or drive to take all of our stuff, I was like, yes, let's do it. Let's drive. That's great. I love the road. I love road trips. We're going to stop at some places on the way to visit people, to have some fun, to share some drinks. It's going to be a good time.
I've been on a road trip with you before. The whole time you're like, "Come on, let's go. Let's keep going. Keep driving. Let's keep driving."
I did on the way home. He's specifically referring to Great American Beer Festival 2013, and I was a little moody. Yeah, we can just leave it at that. I was a little moody. But
so the text I sent James on Saturday was, "James, I just retapped your amber lager," and what I meant by that is I actually pulled it off a tap for a while because I had to put something else on. I grow tired of your self-deprecating bullshit when it comes to your brewing.
That's right. I do remember that text. Yeah. You're like, I know what you're doing.
Because he was like, oh, yeah, it's too hoppy. It's too
Every
acid.
time.
Then I try it, and I'm like, oh, my God, this beer's spectacular.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
It tastes more like a dunkel than it does anything else.
No, it wasn't that. Well, I haven't had it in a while on tap, but it wasn't that malty. But it's delicious. You've been brewing incredible beer, but the way you present it, we got to work on your marketing because you present it like, try it, Josh, but you're not
work
gonna
on
like
your
it.
marketing.
Well, or that might serve us good if people come into the booth, the Muntins booth, to get your beer, and we're like, you're not going to like it. Maybe they'll pitch something else, and that'll leave more for us to drink while people aren't at the booth.
Yeah,
so you're on to something, James Carlson. So yeah, but the Trub Club, like I said, go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, sign up for a recipe receiving tier, and come brew the delicious English mild with us, of course, with premium ingredients from our friends at Muntins, Hopsterette, and Imperial. Now, Todd, you tell me the strain because I totally forgot if it's House or Darkness.
For the
English mild.
Okay. Well, you're talking about for the show, not talking about what people are going to get.
No, I'm talking about what we're going to put in the packs. I haven't reached out to Imperial
so the
yet.
packs you're going to use House, which is what I used on my first batch. But for the show, the beer we're taking for the show, I used Darkness.
Is that just because that's what I had up there?
Yeah,
Okay.
because the person that orders ingredients. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's that's what I used. Yeah.
I did get James a ton of Harvest, though. I pulled through.
Yep.
I say I pulled
that's
through.
true.
That Pilsner that I used, I brewed it the day we got the yeast, and it was finished just like this alt beer was finished that Monday when I came back into work.
And I say
nice.
I say I pulled through. No, Imperial pulled through. All of our sponsors are stupid, incredibly supportive of us and fast. Like when I put an order for Hopsterette, and our friend over there, Matt Crane, he gets it out to us like that. So we're getting freshly bagged hops. Muntins too. Muntins sent us a pallet. So you can get their stuff at txbrewing.com for local homebrewers. They sent us a thing from overseas quickly so that we could get the homebrew con stuff done in time.
Yeah.
Nobody does that. And then like I said with Imperial, every time I talked to Danette over there and put in an order, boom, it's out quick. And the did you look at the package date on your Harvest? It was as fresh. I mean, they had just packed it. Like that's
always like that week or the previous week.
Exactly.
It was one of the freshest pitches I've ever done, and you could tell. I pressure fermented, used 3 packs, 600 billion cells. It's finished. I did the 17 and a half gallons, I think. I did 3 full kegs of beer when I kegged it because I had to keg it that next week because I wanted to pressure ferment the alt beer. And yeah, it was done. It was at 10:09.
Yeah.
The same thing with the alt beer. I went and checked it, and it was at 10:09. I'm like, ooh, that's too
stop.
low.
Yeah, not for Todd.
I actually I screwed up. So you remember the other day when I was doing the thing on my program for the what's that thing called? That fancy hydrometer thing I have.
Oh,
John?
Easy Dens.
Easy Dens, yeah. So when I was going to upgrade the program and I didn't, well, I saved my original gravity, but it didn't save. But now I've got it working again. So, but I know I absolutely remember what it was. It was 1.040,
and then you finished at 10.9.
I don't remember what it was for sure.
Yeah, if it's the English mild, you sent us a picture of it. Finished at 10.9.
10.9. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I got batches in here.
Anyway.
Yeah, 1.009.
Yeah. Anyway, we're very excited about all this beer. And like I said, I know we run their ads and we talk about it, but I can't thank our sponsors enough for not only believing in the show, but how they support us, how they support Trub Club, and just our efforts with this. It's very humbling, and hopefully at HomebrewCon we can hang out and show them our appreciation. By show them, I mean I'm going to have Todd's credit card and buy everyone a beer when we go out. I might even pick up dinner, depending on how intoxicated Mr. Burns is. But anyway, that's enough small talk from me. We do have some questions, but before that, it's time for listener feedback. We have voicemail listener feedback. It's our buddy Steve from Weslaco. That's not too far from y'all, right? And it's validating my 3 chiller idea.
Hi, Josh. This is Steve from Weslaco, Texas. I'll let you figure out the phone number. Your high idea on cooling with 3 chillers is not way out of whack. But instead of using one in the wort, I run it through my third one. I run through a plate chiller back to the recirculation port, and then stick two 25-foot coils into my 10-gallon igloo cooler that I no longer use as a mash tun. Fill with water, throw some ice in there, just as Todd has mentioned, and let that recirculate. I can take it from boiling down to about 70 degrees in 20 to 25 minutes. No problem. So anyway, your Hi Josh idea from this last happy hour, which was great, by the way, was not way out of whack. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye.
That was on the 420 episode, if y'all remember. And normally I call it Josh's cringe idea of the week, but it was Josh's high idea of the week. And that was just a sound effect, Mom. I'm not partaking. But anyway.
Oh, it's funny because when I was reading the notes for the show today, they came through and I'd printed them out and I grabbed it off the thing, and I had an email from him that I was typing, answering, and I glanced at the show notes, and there he is on the show. So
no way,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
We couldn't have coordinated that better if we tried.
No, you really coordinated it well.
I
Thank
did.
you.
I did. I hang out in your inbox, and then I send the show notes based on that. No, it is Steve being from Texas, giving context to this too. We have to be creative with how we chill. And especially in summertime brewing, we just have to, because we can't afford for it to take hours to get down to pitching temps. But 20 to 25 minutes is impressive. That's the dream. 20 minutes is like, for me, that's the dream. If I could get it down in the summertime or any time of the year in 20 minutes, that's ideal. How long, like with your methods, James, using the plate chiller, is it coming down pretty quick? To
well, I'm using that reverse cooling. It's just a coil within a coil, and you have tap water running through the outside, and there's a center. And what I'll do is I'll run it just with tap water. We can do that right now, but those days are about to be gone because summer's coming. But I just pump it back into the kettle, the boil kettle, turn the element heating off, turn the water on, and just let it circulate through the chiller and pump it back into the boil kettle. And it'll take, 30, 45 minutes to cool down.
Yeah, I was going to say 30 to 45 is right about my average time too, which isn't bad either. I guess it's really, as long as you're not going much more than 45 to an hour, you don't have to worry a ton, right?
I usually don't.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as we can get it cold and get the yeast pitch.
Yeah.
Then
I don't even know how long it takes me anymore. I just
time it.
I didn't even use ice last time. I just it all went down without ice. So
yeah, but
the last few times I haven't used it either.
I'll just say, but James is right. Those days are done, guys, for a while.
Oh yeah.
Right now, you know what? It says it's 77, but it's been overcast here all day. The forecast has been odd. It's been 90% chance of rain, and then no percent chance, and then it's gonna be hot. Oh, it's gonna be chilly. Bipolar weather. Anyway, Steve, thank you so much for submitting that feedback. Here's a reminder. When you leave us a voicemail for feedback, you get yourself a $25 gift card at 325-305-6107. Or if you call that same line and leave us a voicemail question, like our first question, Josh from Nebraska, you also get yourself a $25 gift card. So here's our first question of the show, our buddy Josh from Nebraska.
Hey guys, Josh from Omaha again. Hope you're all doing well, especially you, Josh. Awesome name once again. Just calling in with a question I had about the CMB event faucet that you guys carry there on the website. I've been eyeing it for quite some time because I really like the flow control faucets I have on my kegerator and how you don't have to worry so much about foam issues because you can just adjust the resistance right there at the faucet. When it comes to how it works or how best to use the event faucet, is it pretty similar to the X ones I've got on my kegerator? So for example, I use pretty much just the shortest amount of beer line I need to get from the keg to the faucet and use the wider diameter beer hose. Would I do the same thing for this event faucet when I'm taking a keg on the go, or should I work a little bit of leeway in there, use a little bit longer line or a smaller diameter beer hose just to add a little more resistance since the beer is going to be out in a keg, potentially get more shook up, potentially getting a little bit warmer? Is the event faucet flow control maybe not quite as good as the flow control in the shank faucets? Pretty much just looking for some guidance before I go ahead and try to get the flow control faucet to really help me out this summer when I hopefully take my keg out and about and get to share beer with some friends. So appreciate all the help you guys always give to us, and have a good one. Bye.
Josh, what a great name. And at first I thought he was from Nebraska. It sounded like he said he's from Ohio. I don't know. Josh, you can text me and correct me, and I might remember to correct it on a future episode. Before, this is a question for both of you, but I'm going to throw it to James first for you to address maybe the functionality of it and how it does compare to what I'll call mountable faucets, the V10, the X1, like something
It basically works almost exactly the same. The compensator is a little bigger, but it's an excellent flowing faucet. I like it. It's perfect. The compensation works just as good as the shank faucets. The only drawback on a party faucet is maybe the temperature. You know, it's unless you keep it. We did Todd's birthday party one year. We kept it. We used them on soda. That's another thing. You use them for anything that's sparkling water or soda or anything like that with a higher pressure. Perfect for that. After all, it started its life as a soda valve. And you keep it cold like if you've got a trash can that you're cooling your keg down and you're at a park or something, just leave the hose and the faucet down in there staying cold and it should work great. Now, you might get a little foam if you don't do that until the beer cools the faucet head down. But temperature is everything in flow control. But if temperature is not an issue, it's going to flow just as good as the shank faucets, in my opinion.
Yeah, like you said, temperature is key. Now, Todd, in regards to hose diameter, hose length, how big of a factor is that compared to the hose you're using on your very nice 6 faucet kegerator or teaser?
No different. It's exactly the same. Just like you said in the beginning of the question, you can use large hose length. There's no reason to use smaller hose length. It's got absolute full range as far as flow control, so there's no advantage. I use 5/16 ID beer / gas line that people use for gas a lot on systems, or I use 1/4-inch braided soda hose, which, interestingly enough, even though they're a lot different in size, there's not a huge amount of difference in restriction because the 5/16 does have some restriction from the material itself, whereas that braided soda line is so slick, it offers, the material itself offers almost none. So they're very similar between the two. I actually have faucets at home. One of them has one type of line and one has the other, and I can't tell the difference.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the length, not the diameter, but the length of the hose, you cut just to get to the keg. That's not a factor in regards to when you're using full compensation like what the Event Faucet or the other CMB flow control solutions offer.
That's exactly like all the other CMB flow control faucets.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so
the length is not important.
Right. So where I'm going at is if he's taking kegs out and about, the length is just a personal preference at that point. It's like, yes, you're out and about now, you need to add an extra note because all the restrictions being done inside that compensator where, I mean, the thing's a huge handle, but it's to fit that giant compensator in there. It's acting as like, I guess the shank wall is what it's acting as.
Yeah. I mean, it's just something to hold on to. It's a handle.
But for me, the flow control vent faucet for on the go is not really how I use it. I started using it how you do, Todd. Talk about how you implement the flow control into your kegging routine when you're about to get a new keg ready to go on tap.
So when I do forced carbonating, I always hook the keg up to a flow control event faucet and then actually do say 30 seconds or a minute. I usually do about a minute the first time of rocking it back and forth at say 40 to 50 psi, and then I'll check it with that, and then I'll do it another 30 seconds, check it again, maybe another 30 or 15 seconds depending on where the carbonation level is, until I get that carbonation level exactly where I want it. You do have to be cognizant of the fact that you've got beer in the line, so when you do that, you want to hold the trigger open until you get a shot of foam. And what that shot of foam is the two different beers. Obviously, it's the same beer because you're pulling it out of the keg. But, I mean, one of them is going to be more carbonated than the other. At the end, it'll be more carbonated. Once you kind of get that little shot of foam, then you want to take a glass, pour that in, and taste that. And I'm not talking about very much beer at all. It may be an ounce or something like that. It depends on the size of the line. And then you taste that. You say, it's not very carbonated. I'm going to do it for another 30 seconds. Or, it's really close. I'm going to do it for 15 seconds. Each time using that event faucet, it really makes it easy versus trying to pick up that 5-gallon full keg with your bad neck and back and put it in the kegerator, hook it up, turn the faucet on. It just makes it so much quicker and easier.
What you should have said is with your decaying, aging body, it's
with
just
my decaying, aging body.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to use that.
I made a face when you talked about it's not that much beer because we've been in a text thread, the three of us, when you're forced carbing, and you sure text like it's a lot of beer sometimes.
Well, it's not a lot of beer to make the transition from the old beer to the new beer. But I remember one day that on that particular one, we were doing something. I don't remember what the event was, but I had
opening
to force
weekend,
carbonate.
wasn't it? Wasn't it opening weekend?
I had to force carbonate like 4 or 6 kegs. And, sometimes you try a glass 3 or 4 times, and they're little bitty glasses, so you don't think anything of it. But it turns out it's just like the Great American Beer Festival.
Oh, yeah.
You go there and you're like, I'll never have too much with this half ounce of beer. But it turns out if you have 1,000 half ounces of beer, it can affect you in a little bit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm not good at math, but that adds up. You're right. I remember that Great American Beer Festival where it's like, I think it's 1 ounce is what they're quote allowed to pour. Everyone poured to the brim, but there's like a marker.
3 ounces at a time.
It was a 3 ounce glass, but they had a marker at the 1 ounce, and allegedly that's all they're allowed to pour. And very few of the vendors cared. Most of them were, pouring and overflowing. And I'll just say we were at the Great American Beer Festival when Triumph the Insult Comet Dog was there. Go on YouTube, type in Triumph Insult Comet Dog Great American Beer Festival, and you'll see how just a taste of the intoxication, inebriation going on, the debauchery going on at festivals like that. But anyways, yeah, I brought up the alternate uses of it because I've told you not to get on my kind of infomercial spiel here, guys. Sorry, but spare me the next 30 seconds to say I think honestly that's one of the most versatile products that we sell at retail like Tech Connection or through CM Becker, to other solution or to wholesale customers, pardon me, just because I've seen it used, like you said, for soda. I see lemonade vendors are a huge purchaser of those squeeze valves. You say it has for sparkling water, kombucha, enforced carbonation, beer on the go. It's extremely versatile.
We sell a lot of them in Latin America and in Europe, and they go around soccer stadiums with a 2.5 gallon. Because of the weight, they use a 2.5 gallon corny keg with beer and do, a glass full of beer right there, draft beer. It's pretty cool.
It is super cool. We can probably make something like that for HomebrewCon.
Of course we could.
I'll just walk around with it and
yeah, I mean, I would be the person walking around with it, but I can't strap that to my back. I'd have to have back surgery.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'll do it.
We'll put it on you.
It's going to be difficult because you know how much I like to carry my own backpack around too when we're on the road. So
I know. Yeah, we'll strap your backpack on the keg itself, so it's hanging off the keg.
There we go.
Yeah.
Good. Anyways, Josh, great name, great question. Thank you for calling it in. A reminder: if and when you call 325-305-6107, you get yourself, or if you leave a voicemail, you get yourself a $25 gift card to ketconnection.com. If you text that number, or if you go to homebrewhappyhour.com and use the submission link, submit a question link at the top of the page, you still get yourself a $15 gift card, which I think is pretty stinking good. Like our buddy Travis R. did, use the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com, and he wrote, lots of yeast to choose from these days, and I've been using dry Chico for every batch since I started making beer in 2012. Never had any issues. For grins, I bought BRY 97 for my signature pail. I admit I cannot tell the difference between this batch and any of the dozens of pails I've brewed over the years. Aside from the obvious differences between ale and lager strains, do you think there is a style that benefits most from yeast strains marketed as specific to that style, or could it be an illusion of choice and strain selection makes little to no difference? Cheers to your continued success as a podcast, Travis. That's a great question. I've only used yeast marketed for a purpose for the most part. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to use 05 on my Kolsch because I use Dieter because it produces. I've done both before. By default, I had to use 05 one time. I was like, oh crap, I didn't bring home the Dieter, and that batch was not bad at all. But the Dieter was like noticeable. You know what I mean? Like I noticed.
Oh yeah, I mean, Kolsch is a great example because Kolsch is a lot of the taste from Kolsch is from the yeast. I mean, arguably. Without the yeast, it's not a Kolsch. I mean, that's where you get a lot of the flavor profile. Hefeweizen's another one. I mean, you can't brew a Hefeweizen without
an 05
Hefeweizen yeast.
And real quick, just to clarify, Chico, unless I'm wrong, that is like the original ale strain in this country, right? Like 05 for liquid, flagship from Imperial. That's their liquid Chico, and that's like that's the town Sierra Nevada's in. That's why they call it the.
And that's
Chico.
what they used on their beer.
Right, which like their signature pale, right? Funny enough, like that's what it's been famous for, and I think that strain got to them in the late 70s or mid 70s, or I don't know. There's a whole history of it, but I had to look it up. I think the BRY 97 is a West Coast strain, a dry strain from Lallemand, who also makes great yeast. We like Lallemand. What do you think was going on, James, that he couldn't tell the difference? Do you think is pale a bad example to do this test on?
No, I mean, that's pretty common, but probably what's going on is the characteristics of both yeast that he's using is similar.
Yeah,
the Chico is a clean fermenting yeast. And I'm sure the same yeast that he used besides the Chico is probably doing the same thing. So that's probably why I can't tell much of a difference. In other words, there's not a lot of esters produced with the Chico yeast versus what he used. What did he say he used?
BRY 97.
I'm not familiar with that one.
In Lallemand.
I thought that was an English strain. Is that not an English strain? I have to look it up.
Let's see.
I think it's a West Coast.
I'm looking at it right now.
No, West Coast ale. Okay, yeah. So you wouldn't. I mean,
you
wouldn't.
Okay, so it's a similar strain. It's a West Coast ale yeast.
Right. Well, and that was my first. Well, that was my first thought too. With it, James was like, well, it's probably just a fork off of that Chico to where there shouldn't be any differences. Now, if he had used,
see it's showing to have neutral flavor. So it's
it literally is a Chico strain. So both of the ones he's talking about are Chico strain.
Oh, hey, okay. Even better.
I mean, it says right here that Chico refers to what I'm seeing here very quickly. I could be wrong. It is a Chico strain.
It's Lallemand's Chico. It's there.
It's highly attenuating, high fluctuation. So it's going to be a bright beer out the get go.
We told Travis that's why he couldn't tell a difference. But his question is valid in that there are yeast that are like, you're doing an English ESB, you want this, or you're doing a juicy IPA, you want this, right? Like there are strains marketed for that.
Sure.
What do you know, James, about what maybe made some different? Like they're in a lab going, you know what? A juicy IPA we want it to be hazy, so we don't want it to clear up, and we want it to bring out maybe some grapefruit or bring out the hops. Like they're manufacturing that in the yeast at the cellular level, or is it just marketing gobbledygook?
Jeez, that question's kind of over my head. That would be a good Owen question.
That is a good Owen question.
They have specific yeast strains designed to produce certain types of flavors when it's fermenting.
Well, I talked to him yesterday on the phone, and
from Imperial, yeah,
from Imperial, Owen from Imperial, and I was like, yeah, I used the darkness because I didn't have the house, and I had texted him and said, oh, sorry, that was a stupid question because it says right on your website you can use this for a mild. And he was like, yeah, you can use it for a mild, but you're going to get a little bit of he went into the exact flavor profile of how it was going to be different. I was like, wow, I'm not sure that everybody could taste that, but I tasted the mild, and it was good. So hopefully it'll be okay. But he said house would be better. And that's a great example because they're both British yeast. And it's another beer that, like, what makes it a British yeast is the yeast. a British yeast is the yeast. What makes it a British style is very much the yeast, and definitely a Belgian beer. I mean, to brew a Belgian beer and to get that unique taste, you got to have a Belgian yeast. So there's a lot of examples of that.
Unique is a way to describe astringency, but you love Belgians, but
I do like Belgians. I like a lot of Belgians. Yeah,
that's a great point, because you're right. The yeast is what brings out that astringency that you love from that style, where I'm like, not my favorite. And like you said with the wheat beer too, it brings out the classic characteristics of the wheat beer. Esters, not clear, right? Or usually shouldn't be clear unless someone's like me and my dad. One time we did secondary a Hefeweizen, and I got a ton of crap for it online. Thank you everyone at Instagram.com/Homebrew Happy Hour for giving me that crap years ago. But like you said, I've always just trusted, because I'm not a scientist. Spoiler, I'm not even that smart, guys. If you've been around for more than a couple episodes, that's no surprise. But I've always trusted it because the results have always been there. Like you're talking about Owen. Our friends Owen and Casey over at Imperial, who've been our contacts and friends for many years, when you ask them, what should I use for this beer? Like, you could use Kaiser for a Kolsch, but the strain for Kolsch that we make is Dieter, and that's going to make the most true to style Kolsch that you can get. Sure, you could use Dieter in an alt, but again, Kaiser is what we've made to get that true Dusseldorf alt finish. And in our experience, James, you'd probably agree. Like, yeah, that's how it's happened for us. Where we could tell the difference, because there is enough engineering done on these to be noticeable to us. But
one of the things you like about a Kolsch is the floral notes to it, and that's from the yeast. Yeah, so
right, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. No, it's not from the massive amount of hops that I use. Hallertau Mittelfrüh, known for florality. I don't know that, but it is a good question, because I'm glad y'all looked up Bry 97, because I thought it was.
I still don't know if it's a Chico strain. I'm getting.
But regardless, it is a West Coast strain, meaning that's basically, it's going to be so similar. Like, yeah, it's like, James, when you brew using Harvest or Global, you could tell the difference because you have enough experience, and you're like, oh, Global's more powdery. Harvest is going to be, it's going to finish cleaner. That's the first characteristic I always notice, at least. And the second one is a little bit more of a Pilsner bite from Harvest than Global provides. But that's not saying it's going to be some very drastic, or pardon me, other way around. Global provides.
Yeah, I think it's the other way around.
That's what I meant.
The only thing about Global is it's a low fluctuating yeast, so it's real powdery. And it needs extended lagering times to brighten up, or manual filtration.
And
sorry.
Yeah, what were you laughing at?
Oh, I was trying to get a definitive answer, and the best one I've seen is BRY 97 is not your typical Chico strain.
Oh, well,
so what the hell does that mean?
It's Chico, but not your typical.
Okay.
That's like me when I'm online. I'm not your typical kind of guy. I like, or if I was in the dating scene. James, isn't that what you have in your profile? I'm not your typical guy. I'm kidding. Anyway, I would say this is a question I should shelve for Homebrew Con, and we can talk about it elaborate.
Yeah.
Owen loves talking yeast. We've had him on the show when we went to Homebrew Con Portland 2018 or 2017. And so we know he'd love to talk about it. But also, in the meantime, I'd solicit feedback in the comments below. And I'll end it by saying, I think y'all would agree, being the best time ever to be a home brewer in the history of mankind, we have so much information at our fingertips. Go to all the yeast manufacturers you might be buying from and read their descriptions on their strains. And I promise you, for the most part, I think they're all telling the truth. Like, we manufactured this one for a juicy IPA. And if you're brewing a juicy IPA, go, yeah, I should try that. Because if you've only been using Chico, you might be missing out. You might not be getting everything your ingredients could be bringing to the table with the correct yeast, or with the appropriate yeast, because correct is too subjective. But right, guys, yeast manufacturers have all that information there. This style is best used for these kinds of beers, and here's why. And like James said, you can look at attenuation rates. You can look at the flocculation rate, I guess, as well is the word for that. But it's the best time ever to be alive. So utilize that information available to you. I think that wraps that up, right?
Yep.
So thank you, Travis, for submitting that question. quick show, guys, but we do have one final question. It is a text message to our hotline at 325-305-6107 from our buddy Marcus, and he wrote, does the temperature of my CO2 tank matter, specifically regarding efficiency and capacity? Is it best practice to keep the tank cold in the fridge or room temp outside the fridge? Can the cold mess with the air regulator on the tank? Thanks. Todd, this has been a question for many people before when they get kegerator kits from us and they're setting it up and they go, oh, I don't have enough room in my fridge. Is that going to be a problem? Or, hey, I have enough room. I want to put my CO2 and regulator in there. Is that going to be a problem? What's your go-to reply when people talk CO2 storage?
No, it doesn't matter.
There's no, it's literally a coin flip. Like,
the only thing he mentioned was the beer regulator. Freezing up, there could be, maybe it'd be more likely to freeze up if you stored it at a really cold temperature. And I could see that, but you'd have to really run it at, you'd have to run a lot of CO2 through there. I mean, you could freeze any regulator if you run enough volume of CO2 through it fast enough.
Right. Yep. High enough volume.
I force carbonate with mine all the time, 45 PSI. Going full guns, and I always keep it in the fridge. So my answer is no.
I was going to say,
and it's coming out of the bottle cold anyway. So anytime you have a compressed liquid changing to a gas, it's gonna turn cold. It's the opposite if you have a gas compressing into a liquid, gets hot. So now, if anybody that's done forced carbonation and used a lot, you can feel that valve on the tank, and it gets cold.
Now, Todd, assuming he's using a 5-pound like the vast majority of fellow homebrewers are using, what is it about keeping it in the fridge or keeping it in your garage, let's say like for me, that might affect your gauge readings of the capacity? Like, it's a gas. So it's a liquid, as James is saying, and the pressure of a liquid is directly related to the temperature. So if you're keeping your CO2 cylinder in your kegerator, it may read, say, 450. It depends totally on what the temperature of your kegerator is, but let's say it wouldn't be unusual for it to read 450 PSI on your high pressure gauge. You could take that out, disconnect it, take it out to your garage, leave it in your garage. It's 100 degrees, and it might read 1200 PSI or whatever it reads at 100 degrees. I don't know exactly, but it's going to be substantially higher. And if you get it hot enough, it will go to the maximum of the 1800 PSI, and it will blow out the safety valve on the tank. If it does, on the tank, and it will vent the entire tank instead of exploding the tank. Yeah.
So it scare the crap out of you too when it does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it's got to be pretty hot.
And I know James meant the proverbial you, but he was actually talking about me, as in I would be the ever living crap would be scared from me. As long as I've known you, Todd, you've always kept it in your teaser, but because you had the availability, I off the top of my head, a pro, as in like a benefit of keeping it in the fridge if you have the space, is less holes to drill through, right? Like if you're building your own kegerator or teaser and you're not 100% sure where refrigerant lines are, that could get messy. You don't want to drill any more holes through your fridge than you absolutely have to.
Well, I mean, I had a kegerator at one time that had a holder, a bracket on the outside, and the hose came into the inside. Yeah. So on that one, I kept it on the outside. If I don't have that, I almost always keep it on the inside, for mainly just so I don't have a CO2 tank just sitting around outside which isn't safe. So yeah, I mean that's what I've always done.
I would say my pop and I use the Edge Stars that we used to sell on Keg Connection that have pre-drilled holes. So we keep our tanks on the outside there too, because it's already pre-drilled. It's easy enough, and we can't fit two kegs, two cornies in there, and the CO2. It's a very weird. You don't want to lay a CO2 cylinder on the regulator on its side or tilting it or whatever if you can avoid it. In my opinion, for safety reasons, you don't want if that. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The 150 degrees approximately is where that valve's going to blow.
Okay, good. I'm gonna mark that.
It's plenty hot, but it wouldn't take long in a car with the windows rolled up in summer.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the other thing. Do not transport your full CO2 cylinder in the car with you, because if something bad happens,
Stop it.
It could very well kill you just from the pressure. It could if it ruptures, it would blow the windows out of the car along with little chunks of your head, probably.
Maybe your bald head is what you're talking about.
Yeah, your bald head. So do not transport it in the cab of your car.
You tell me that every time I take CO2 home from headquarters. It's like I have to get it home somehow. My favorite thing is how people complain when we are very clear as a retailer when we sell. We cannot ship these with CO2 in it by law, but the law exists for safety of the courier. And people get mad. They're like, I got the CO2 cylinder and it's empty, damn it. Like, do you realize what a crapshoot that would be shipping out a full CO2 cylinder through FedEx or UPS or USPS? Like, that would be terrible. They don't have temperature controlled vehicles 99% of the time, and in the summer we're just shipping out full CO2 cylinders. There you go.
I mean, you can ship one full, but it has to be hazmat. You pay a very large hazmat fee, so it wouldn't be worth it. The hazmat fee would be more than what it would cost you to fill the cylinder. So
right, in most places
it wouldn't make sense.
I say most. You're a kind person. You're cheaper than the average brewer. You usually charge $20, but in my local area, it's anywhere from $25 to $35 to fill them. Which at the end of the day is not terrible because you need the gas and beggars can't be choosers. But anyway, I forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, it's a great question. No, CO2 ultimately doesn't matter. But if you're in a garage and it's getting hot, maybe think about that. Maybe don't leave it out there on its own, or maybe you like to roll the dice and see what happens with your.
It would be unusual for a garage to hit 150. I mean, even in the middle of Texas, that's pretty damn hot.
Yeah, that's pretty. Damn
yeah,
hot.
I mean, an attic now, up in your attic, it could potentially get that hot.
My man cave attic. I shouldn't pursue that.
No, I mean an actual attic. Like,
no, I know I was joking.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember my air conditioner guy working up there one time. He had a thermometer and it was 135. He could only work for like 4 or 5 minutes and then he'd have to come down and cool down.
That's why HVAC guys in Texas make the big bucks. I have a buddy who runs an HVAC company. He told me in the summer, he's like, yeah, I get calls every day and I'm losing, 15 pounds of water weight a day, but they get paid good. Anyways. Yeah. Marcus, thank you so much for submitting that question. Guys, that's all I've got for this week. I appreciate y'all's time. Todd, you're leaving Saturday. You're gone. You will be on the show next week or you won't be on the show next week?
I won't be on the show. I'll probably be I don't even remember.
Yeah, you're going to be in the air.
Back.
Okay. Well, James, I'm going to be there Thursday, so we can record. I'll just be in his office, assuming we can make the time that we're not just swamped. But anyways, I appreciate y'all's time this week. Y'all have a great weekend. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Thanks.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
And that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on the submit a question link at the top of the page, or you can call, leave a voicemail, and be Todd's best friend at 325-305-6107. Thank you to our sponsors like Munton's Malt, premium grains for a better brew day. If you aren't already brewing with Munton's, give them a try by visiting txbrewing.com or join our Chub Club at a recipe receiving level. For the best hops available online, give our friends at hopsdirect.com a visit and pick up what you need for your next brew day. Also, get a pack of Imperial yeast along with premium recipes from us when you join the Chub Club. Go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and come brew with us. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thanks for listening.